You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
Let's start at the beginning. Imagine a teenager, Mark Zuckerberg, hunched over his computer, teaching himself Yayon, while most kids his age are still figuring out algebra. What makes a kid like that tick? Here's the setup. Mark, the so-called prince of his family, grows up in Dobbs Ferry, New York, with 3 sisters and a supportive household. Early on, he builds Zucknet, an instant messaging system so his family can chat across rooms. That's what we call a homebrew intranet, think of it, as a private Facebook before Facebook. But the conflict arises when Mark, hungry for challenge, heads to Exeter Academy. There, he creates Synapse, a music app that predicts your Tastesa precursor to the recommendation engines we see in Spotify today. Big Tech takes notice. Microsoft and AOL try to buy Synapse, but Mark shrugs off million-dollar offers to go to Harvard. Now, you might be thinking, why would anyone turn down that kind of money? For Mark, the resolution was clear. The thrill of building was more enticing than cashing out. And so, Mark's drive to connect people rather than just chase a paychecks sets the stage for one of the most consequential inventions of our time. Let me tell you a story. It's Mark's first year at Harvard. He launches FaceMasha site ranking students' photos by hotness. It's crude, controversial, and powered by hacking into Harvard's databases. That's our first technical term, data scraping, pulling information from a source without permission. The conflict explodes when students and faculty protest. FaceMash is shut down, and Mark faces charges of breaching security and violating privacy. Ever heard of digital ethics? This is where it gets personal. Now, you might be asking, was FaceMash just a prank? Or did it signal something deeper about Mark's approach to boundaries? The resolution? Mark escapes expulsion, but the experience plants a seed, the tension between innovation and privacy. It's a push-pull that will define Facebook for years. So, early on, Mark learns. Move fast. But sometimes you break more than just code, you break trust. Picture this. Mark is approached by the Winklevoss twins and Divya Narendra to help build their social network, Harvard Connection. He agrees, but quietly begins coding his own rival site, the Facebook. Here we see 2 technical terms at play. Source code, the behind-the-scenes instructions for a program, and intellectual property, ownership of ideas and creations. The conflict? Mark delays the Harvard Connection project, launches the Facebook first, and blindsides his collaborators. Emails and instant messages later reveal he was working both sides. Now, you might be thinking, was this genius or betrayal? The Winklevosses think it's the latter. They sue for breach of contract and fraud. The resolution? A $65 million settlement, but the controversy cements Mark's reputation as both a visionary and a ruthless competitor. The lesson? In Silicon Valley, timing and control can be everything. Let's shift gears. Show. Does a website built in a dorm room go viral across the nation? The setup. After launching at Harvard, the Facebook expands to Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. The technical engine here is the viral loop. Each new user draws in more friends, creating exponential growth. Conflict emerges as competitors like Friendster and MySpace struggle with server crashes and cluttered interfaces. Facebook's clean design and exclusivity requiring .edu email address sets it apart. Now you might wonder, how did Facebook keep up with demand? The answer, relentless coding and smart recruitment, leveraging venture capital, a term for investment in high-growth startups. By summer, Facebook is spreading like wildfire, proving that, in the digital age, social connectivity and technical scalability are a powerful duo. Here's a turning point. Enter Sean Parker, co-founder of Napstera Disruptor, who knows all about platform dynamics and leveraging networks. The setup. Mark and his team move to Palo Alto, the heart of Silicon Valley, and Parker becomes their mentor. Let's break down 2 terms. Startup culture, the fast-paced, risk-taking environment, and founder equity, ownership stakes held by company creators. Conflict simmers with Eduardo Saverin, Mark's original partner, who feels sidelined as Parker guides fundraising and company strategy. Now, you might be asking, why is founder control so critical? Parker urges Mark to maintain majority ownership, a move that ensures Mark's vision can't be easily overruled by investors. The resolution. With savvy deals and Parker's advice, Mark secures cash and keeps control setting Facebook up for explosive growth and cementing his role as CEO. Let's talk about the growing pain show. Does a company go from a house of coders to a corporate powerhouse? The setup. Facebook's move to downtown Palo Alto brings a shift in culture. Hackathons, marathon coding sessions fuel innovation, while hires like Chris Kelly as chief privacy officer signal a maturing organization. Conflict arises with internal strife. Eduardo Saverin is pushed out after freezing company bank accounts, highlighting the tension between business and tech leadership. Now, you might think, is this just business as usual or something more ruthless? The answer, it's both. Power in tech is often won through both innovation and calculated boardroom maneuvers. The resolution? Mark consolidates power, learning tough lessons in management, while Facebook continues to skyrocket in users and revenue. Imagine you're offered $1 billion for your startup. Would you say no? Mark Zuckerberg did, and here's why. The setup. Facebook introduces photo tagging and newsfeed, two technical innovations: metadata, data about data, like who's in a photo, and real-time notifications that supercharge user engagement. Conflict comes when Yahoo and MTV offer to buy Facebook for upwards of $1.5 billion. Internal pressure mounts should they cash out or stay the course? Now, you might be thinking, how do you turn down that kind of money? For Mark, the answer is conviction. He believes Facebook can become much more than a product. It can be a global platform. The resolution. He says no, tweaks newsfeed after public outcry, and is proven right when Facebook's user numbers and influence explode even further. Let's talk ecosystems. What happens when you let outsiders build on your platform? The setup. In 2006, Facebook opens its doors to third-party developers, launching the Facebook platform. That's our next technical term. APA, Application Programming Interface, which lets apps like Farmville plug into Facebook's core. Conflict arises as a wave of innovation games, quizzes, and widgets floods the site. Suddenly, Facebook isn't just a social network, it's a digital playground. Now, you might wonder, why did Microsoft invest $250 million for 1.6% of Facebook? Because owning a piece of the social graph, the map of how users are connected, was the holy grail for advertisers. The resolution. The Microsoft deal values Facebook at $15 billion, making headlines and cementing its place as a tech titan. Let's dig into privacy, the recurring Achilles heel for Facebook. The setup. Facebook launches Beacon, an advertising tool that shares users' purchases with friends without clear consent. This is behavioral tracking, monitoring what you do online to target ads. Conflict erupts. Users revolt. Facebook ruined Christmas becomes a rallying cry. The public outcry, combined with pressure from privacy advocates and Congress, forces Mark to publicly apologize and roll back features. Now, you might be thinking, why does Facebook keep overstepping on privacy? Here's the pattern. Push boundaries, face backlash, then make small concessions. Call it blow forward instead of blow back. The resolution. Despite mistakes, Facebook's growth is unstoppable, but the tension between innovation and privacy remains a central challenge. Let's zoom out. How does a website become a cultural and political force? The setup. The release of The Social Network paints Mark as a brilliant but ruthless outcast. Meanwhile, Facebook's reach explodes worldwide. Over 70% of users now live outside the US. Conflict intensifies as Facebook is credited with accelerating the Arab Spring. Protesters use the platform to organize, share videos, and topple regimes, illustrating the concept of network effects, where the value of a service grows as more people use it. Now you might ask, can a social network really change the world? In Egypt, a man names his daughter Facebook. That's impact. The resolution. Facebook's influence is undeniable, but with global power comes new scrutiny from governments and activists alike. Here's the climax. Facebook goes public in 2012, raising over $16 billion, the largest internet IPO ever. But the story doesn't end there. The setup. Facebook acquires Instagram for $1 billion, a strategic move to neutralize a rising competitor and shore up its dominance in photo sharing. Conflict brews with Google, as both companies race to own the future of social and mobile. Terms like user engagement, time spent on the platform, and market share, portion of users in the industry, become battlegrounds. Now, you might wonder, what's Mark's endgame? With 57% voting control, he keeps a tight grip on Facebook's direction, resisting the pressure to prioritize short-term profits over long-term vision. The resolution? Facebook isn't just a company, it's the infrastructure of our digital lives, for better or worse. And Mark Zuckerberg's quest to make the world more open and connected continues to redefine how we communicate, share, and even protest.